Hello, everyone. Amazing greetings to you. Thank you for joining this call. I see a couple of us are on the call already. Thank you so much for being here right on time. We are super excited to have you. And I can't wait to begin this conversation. I see our speakers are also joining the call already. Thank you. So again, you're welcome. Thank you for making out time to join this session out of your busy schedule. We are super excited that you prioritize this. So right now, I'll just give a minute or two to allow more people join, and then we can begin the conversation proper. But meanwhile, just in the chat box, you can let us know where you're calling in from. I would like to know more. Where are you joining this call from? Just feel free to let us know in the chat box while we wait for other participants to join the session. Again, thank you and welcome to today's session. Tag M&E Career Development and Advancing to Senior Roles. I'll be going through the chat box now to see who we have here. I see Ranjit is saying good evening. Oh, Ranjit is joining us from India, all the way from India. Ranjit, thank you so much. I will have Sikiru Abdul Rashid is joining us from Kano State, Nigeria. And we have Yahya Mohammed. Yahya Mohammed is joining us from Nigeria. If you're just coming on the call, please let us know where you're connecting from, where you're calling in from. We'd like to know. We have Precious. Precious is saying hello all the way from Lagos City, Nigeria. Keep it coming, everybody. Let us know where you're connecting from. I'm just going through the chat box now to read the messages that we have while we wait for more people to join the call. Keep the messages coming. Let us know where you're calling in from. Going through the chat box again to see who we have here and where you're calling in from. Again, if you're just joining us, thank you for making our time to be here. We are super excited that you prioritize this session and you're here with us. I see on the call we have our two distinguished speakers here already, and in a short while we'll just go into the business of the day. Meanwhile, let's know who you're joining us as we wait for more people to join. Okay, we have going through the chat box. We have Shehu. Shehu is joining us from Abuja, Nigeria. I will have Ishaku Hassan is joining us all the way from Maiduguri, Borno State. And our speaker, Dr. Eman, is joining us all the way from Egypt. And Joy is saying hi, all. Joy, bye-bye. Here, I'm joining from Abuja, Nigeria. Thank you so much, Joy. Thank you, everyone, for making our time to be here for this session. So just to make sure we have a nice space for us to discuss, here are housekeeping rules that I would like to adhere to. If you're not talking, please advise that you mute your mic so that we can minimize distraction and then feedback that can come when your mic is unmuted. And then we also advise that you use the chat box for anything. You want to ask a question, you want to communicate anything, use the chat box. And then as much as possible, we like to stay on the topic. M&E is very broad, but we are limiting it for this today to advancing to senior role. So like that, you stay on the topic and then use the raise hand feature. If you want to talk, you can call our attention by raising up your hand, and then we give you the opportunity when it's the right time to talk. In the chat box, we also have our speaker. I see saying hi to all. He's joining us from Abuja, Irene Obi. Thank you so much, Ma, for joining us right on time. So today's session, as usual, is made possible by M&E Sphere. For those who are just joining us for the first time, M&E Sphere is a capacity building initiative that empowers young professionals with tailor-made M&E information, resources, and skills to bridge the talent gap in the development space. And our vision is to enhance youth participation in M&E processes, thereby fostering their voices and contribution to sustainable development. We do this through webinars such as this. We provide resources, we share opportunities, with young people, with young professional, early entry level professionals to assess opportunities in M&E. So you're welcome on board. So today's session specifically, we are looking at how we can move from point A to B in our careers. If you're on this session and maybe you're just looking at how you can break into this M&E space, we have done session on that. We have done session on breaking into M&E, how to write cover letters, how to design your CVs and then interview. All of that you can find them on our YouTube channel. Just go on YouTube and search for M&E Sphere, and you can see recordings of our past session, which I believe will be more relatable. But for today, we are limiting our discussion to people who are already in this space. How can we move from an entry level, for instance, to maybe a manager or a senior position, as the case may be? That will be the focus of our conversation here today. And I hope that you're excited, just the same way I am, to learn from people who have passed through this road before, to glean insight and wisdom from their journey. That's why we're here. And if you're here and you know someone who is going to benefit, can you reach out to them, let them know that the session is already in progress so that they can join and then benefit from today's session. So today we have two amazing people, very, very experienced, who will be doing justice to the topic. And for me, I'm super excited that this session is holding. I mean, if you are in M&E, you know that people who are in this position are always busy. But for them, sacrificing their weekend to be here with us is something we do not take for granted. I want to say thank you so much. Ma, thank you so much for agreeing to do us this honor. So right away, we are going to the introduction to meet our speakers, and I'll be calling on some of the participants to take or introduce our speakers. On my left hand, we have Irene Obi, and I'll be calling Aishezi Yusuf to introduce our first speaker, and we'll go in that order. Aishezi, if you're on the call, can you unmute, please?
All right. Yes, thank you, Godwin. It's my privilege to, read this very rich bio of our very first speaker, Mrs. Irene Obi. So, Mrs. Irene Obi is the Monitoring, Evaluation, Research and Learning Director for Ipsos Public Affairs Nigeria. She's an exceptional research, monitoring, evaluation, and learning expert, offering over 13 years overall work experience and 11 years in the international development sector, including agriculture, livelihood, gender, digital economy, health, youth, and education projects. She has served as research lead and principal investigator for multiple studies, evaluations, and assessments where she gained advanced skills in the design, implementation, and coordination of research and evaluation activities, budget development and management, research proposal, and technical report writing. She possesses advanced skills in design, implementation, and coordination of research, evaluation program activities, design, and analysis of mixed method studies, participatory approaches, design coordination and management of data, collection, electronic system, and teams. She has also acted as a technical expert for project implementation advocacy, practice and policy evaluations, and also executed many MEL project management and capacity building projects funded by BMGF, USAID, BFID, MasterCard Foundation, WHO, CHAI, JPEGO, GSK, SOS Children, PropCom, McAfee, the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, and Mott MacDonald. Irene supported the review of the National Adolescent and Young People Health Guidelines as well as its implementation plan. Additionally, she supported the review of the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund implementation manual and chaired on behalf of Preston Development Foundation, the Advocacy and Accountability Technical Working Group for Health Sector Reform Coalition Nigeria. So additionally, she is one of the trainers for the technical support program of the National Primary Healthcare Agency, where she built the capacity of its staffs in monitoring and evaluation as well as effective work planning. So I think this is a very rich bio of our very first speaker. Thank you so much. Over to you, Godwin.
All right, thank you very much, Ashezi. Please let's with our virtual ovations, let's show some love. Let's appreciate our first speaker. From the bio, we can tell that we're super lucky to have her. So please let's welcome her with our virtual ovations in the chat box. Let's welcome her. Let's make her know that yes, we are deeply honored to have her join this session. I would not take that for granted. Yeah, I see that we can do more. We can clap. We can show love, more love. We can appreciate our first speaker for making our time to be here. Yes, I see that coming up here. This is more like it at M&E Sphere, where people of honor, we honor her so much for her time to be with us here today. Yeah, thank you so much, and keep it coming while we move to introduce our second speaker, Dr. And to do justice to that, I'll be calling on Precious Afolabi. Precious, if you're on the call, can you unmute and introduce our second speaker?
Okay, good afternoon, Godwin. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'll be reading the profile for, can everyone hear me?
Yes, you're audible. Proceed.
Okay, so I'll be reading the profile for Dr. Eman Shady. Dr. Eman Shady has a PhD degree from Cairo University, currently pursuing a master's in evaluation from Germany. She has been the principal investigator of field research since 2006, collecting data in Egypt, all of its governorates. She worked at the Social Research Center of the American University in Cairo from 2009 to 2018. She taught at ACU's Monitoring and Evaluation Diploma. Emman has been working in MEARL field for more than 19 years with various organizations, national, international, private, and government. Plan International Egypt, Save the Children International, Care Egypt and UNICEF, IOM and Safani, DO, etc. Some of our major accomplishments during our career were supporting projects that helped to transfer Egypt's position in the PMERL KPI to green from amber, developing a high-quality M&E system, attaining multiple ethical approval of the MERL initiatives, building the capacity of the peer educators, supporting the creation of the biggest project database, MIS, and indicators for the USAID projects at SCI, and successfully led evaluation and assessment projects with various stakeholders from the private sector, public sector, non-governmental organizations, international organizations, and United Nations agencies. She has successfully led evaluation and assessment projects with various stakeholders from the private sector, Green Line, public sector, Ministry of Local Development, non-governmental organizations, HARAS, MAP, Safani, STSF, international organizations, USAID, GIZ, CARE, FORD, PIE, SCI, and United Nations organizations, agencies like ILO, WHO, IOM, UNICEF, UNESCO. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Eman Shady, one of our speakers today.
Right, thank you so much, Precious. Let's welcome her in the chat box with our virtual ovations. Let's show some love and appreciate her for her time being on this session today. Again, I welcome everybody, and I tell you, we are super excited. We're super lucky to have these two on the call. I mentioned before, if you're someone who works in monetary evaluation, you know that these people are always very busy. So for them to be here on a weekend, it's something we do not take for granted. So let's appreciate them. Let's show them that we are truly grateful for their time. I see that coming already. Yeah, welcome, Doctor. Welcome, Ma, to today's session, and thank you for agreeing to do us this honor. So moving on, without waste of time, we'd like to just go into the business of the day to kick this conversation. Like I mentioned before, today's session is designed to explore strategies for career development, especially for people who are in the early stages of their careers in monitoring and evaluation. Particularly, we are interested in learning what are the strategies, what are the things that we need to do that can give us an edge to move from point A to be in our careers. And I mentioned before, if you're someone who is just looking for information on how to start off in this space, we have done sessions that we've recorded, and you can get them on our YouTube channel that, we give you the step-to-step guide on how you can move from being an applicant to maybe an entry-level professional in monitoring evaluation. But for today, particularly, we are looking at how those of us who are already in this space, how can we move from maybe an assistant or an intern or an officer to maybe a senior level in this space. And to do justice to that, we have people who have passed through this space before. From the bio, you can tell by yourself that, we have a lot to learn from them today. So it's our belief that at the end of this session, you leave here with clarity, you have information, you have direct understanding of what it takes to transition from one level to another in your career. So to just begin, I'd like to confirm that our two speakers are on the call and then that they can hear us clearly. So I'll just start with my first speaker, Irene. If you're on the call, can you just unmute and maybe say hi to the participant before going to the conversation, and then the same thing to Dr. Emily.
Hello, everyone. This is Irene Obi. Good day from wherever you are. Good evening from Nigeria. Nice to meet everyone. Yes, I can hear, and thank you also for also making yourselves available to come and hear. And we, of course, we're going to learn from each other. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ma. Again, you're very much welcome. And then moving on to Egypt, where we have Dr. Eman. Ma, over to you. If you can hear us, can you just unmute and say hello to our participant before we go into the conversation?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This means peace be on all of you. So it's suitable for all the day. So I hope you are making a good day, and I am so pleased to be with you today.
Okay, great. Now we're sure that our two speakers are here and that we can hear each other clearly. So right now, I would just like to kick the conversation, to start the conversation, and I'll be asking questions in no particular order to just help us make sense of this topic today. So I will start with you, Irene. From experience, because we believe you have worked through this space before. So what do you think is the right time? When do you think is the right time for somebody to start vying for senior position in M&E? Is there any time that you feel, okay, I have to be here for this particular time, or when actually do you think someone should start applying for senior positions?
Okay, thank you, Godwin. Thank you for having me once again. So the truth is, I think first you need to, as the individual, you need to ask yourself certain questions, which is, what do you want to achieve as an individual, as an M&E professional? When you have that information clearly in your mind, then you can now start to know, put in various steps. So if you say, now I don't want to just be here and just be, clicking my 9 to 5, I want to also be able to make certain decisions. I want to be able to be a leader in this space. I want to know more. Then you can now ask yourself what steps are needed. And it's very important because, to be honest, if I use my experience, I did not, I have about 12, 13 years experience in the space. So if you can't just say, oh, I wake up this morning and I've worked 1 year, 2 years, and now I want to be there. Now I can't particularly say that there's a particular number of years that you need to have worked. What I would say is you need to build your portfolio. So as young professionals, you need to put in the work. So of course, when you've asked yourself those questions, you're now saying, what can I do to be that person I want to see? When I started my career, those questions that they'll ask you in 5 years, where do you see yourself? I mean, I'm sure all of us know that when you're just an intern fresh out of grad school, you really don't know, I mean, personal experience, when they asked that question at the first, my very first employment. I mean, of course, you want to Google what you can say, but do you really mean it? So sometimes at that point, you might not be very clear on what it is. If you look at my education, I have a public health experience. There was nothing in there. In fact, I read microbiology. My first degree was microbiology, and I was already in the hospital, collecting samples and running evaluation. And nothing there told me I was going to be an M&E, expert or a professional. But over time, as you grow, you start to understand, oh, this is where I want to be. This is how I see myself. And then you start to work towards it. So what I would say is when you realize what you want, you need to put in the work. I've had times of sleepless nights. I've had times of being awake at 2, 3 a.m. You go to the fields and your data collectors come back very late. You cannot be sleeping when your data collectors are out for one reason or the other. Maybe their cars broke down that they had to come back late. I mean, you need to be awake or you need to prepare for the next day. So there are various things. So you need to put in the work. You need to also study. So you need to know. You can't just say you want to be this, but by the time it's time for you to defend what you know, you can't say it. People at senior roles, most with experience, because they have been they're coming from somewhere. So yes, I might be at a senior role right now, but I collected data some days ago. I did interviews some days ago. You won't say because you're a senior person now, you can't collect data. No, you will collect data. So if you didn't know how to do it then, even when you get a senior role, you might not be able to do it. And then your stay won't last because you'll be fizzled out. And then another thing, just before I close, is what I always say: what can you offer? And what extra can you offer? Those are two different things. Everybody has a BSc, everybody's having a master's now. People are going for PhD, everybody has that. But what singles you out from the person next to you? What extra can you bring? That's how you're going to be able to, over time, build your portfolio, know more, ask more questions, study, and then over time you will be able to now start to apply for those roles. And please be consistent, right? If you believe in yourself and you know your onions, please, the sky is your limit. Thank you.
Wow, what a wonderful way to start. Thank you so much, Ma. You clearly have mentioned no specific number of years is required before you can even start vying for senior level positions. But you have to put in the work, you have to be ready to learn and know what you are made up of and what you can bring to the table. Yeah, thank you so much for laying the foundation. So I'll move over to Dr. Elman and I'll ask the same question. In your opinion, when do you think is the right time to start applying for senior level positions?
I can't agree more than with Irini. It's totally right. There is no right time for that. When you feel that you passed what you need, if you are wanting to move within your organization, then go ahead and just take the exam, take the interview. This is the experience you want to build upon. You need to know what does the exam look like. You need to do that. This then would make it easier to you, have more confidence, like Irini said, and this will build upon what you already have. But taking into account that you need to be well prepared, having the needed qualifications of analysis, technical skills, this would make it much easier for you to not only take the exam, but also to at least meet the minimum requirements. So you would not be depressed when you have the exam, maybe like a shock or something. If you saw something, it is totally beyond your thinking or imagination. That's why preparing for it before that makes it more easier for you. And I don't like actually having the AI preparing questions and so on. No, there is one thing more important before going back to AI to help us in this regard, which is the mentality and the aim of the recruiters. If your aim is to go within the same organization or it's in another organization, do think first, what do they want? Are they looking for a technical expertise, or are they looking for something or someone who is enthusiastic about their work and what they are doing? And this can be known from the job description easily. And if you are inside the organization, of course, you would do it from personal communication before having the job description on hand. So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ma, for your insight on this. So you started talking about skills, and I'd like to stay with you. Maybe you can help us uncover a bit more on, the particular skill set that someone must be able to demonstrate before you can even begin to think of, okay, now I should be able to sit at the table and make decision and provide technical assistance to how the organization is moving or the direction of the project. So I'm asking, what do you think are some of the skills that maybe young people need to be particular about? While you're at entry level, you need to build the skill set before you even can transition to senior positions. What would you say, ma'am? Over.
Okay. Yeah, this is very important. Actually, some organizations were looking for the communication skills more than the technical skills, because technical skills can be acquired anytime. But communication skills, attitude, are not acquired anytime. Those are the personality of the person. So every one of us, including myself, we should always work on our communication skills, work on our attitude, keep it all positive all the time. Even if it is in a stressful environment, you need to think how to be positive and how to address the challenges, to be mitigating them, not to be like disrupting every moment. This is the first and foremost from my point of view. The second thing is the technical skills. So some organizations are only using Excel and they don't want to use other paid softwares like SPSS, Stata, or R, or something like this. And Excel is more easier, of course, accessible than SPSS. Other organizations prefer to use SPSS because it's more professional and more like you have more handy options and so on and so on. There are a variety of organizations. You need to know what are the softwares they use. You need to practice on them. You need to be familiar with that before getting into an exam, because of course you will have at least one task that is addressing one of the questions related to the softwares will be using. They will give you at least one task that to analyze some data. And I think this is the practical exam. There is no professional exam that does not have at least one task like that. And then there are comes the more in-depth, like how to analyze this data. So if we are talking about quantitative, then how to analyze quantitative, and how to analyze qualitative, how to collect the qualitative and how to collect the quantitative. And of course, I think Goodwin had one or two sessions on that before. If not, we can suggest to have more sessions on that if you want to talk more in depth about it. How to adapt and learn. This is the more of required from all positions in the administrative, higher administrative, from the organizations you would prefer to go to. Thank you, Goodwin.
All right, thank you so much, Ma, for speaking to us about the soft skill as well as the technical skills that you consider very paramount before someone can, think of moving forward in their careers. So right now I'll move to Irene. I would like to still ask the same question, and I like you to be more practical as possible, because I think you even started talking about that. Even as a thought leader now, you still collect data, meaning that you started collecting data when you must have been maybe at the entry or early days of your career, but you still have that skill with you. So what skills do you think, because more often than not, we think of moving forward, but we negate what are the benefits that this present opportunity affords us. So what would you say are some of the skills that we need to acquire now that we have this opportunity to be, the ones doing the field work or doing, the dirty job, if there's anything like that, before we can even think of wanting to be part of the decision makers? Over, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Godwin. I like that you called it dirty job because we still say yes, you need to still put your hand in the plow occasionally. And the reason, the thing is sometimes at your entry level, you'll be required to do that, go under the sun, find people you want to speak to, collect that data, and you can even move on to analysis. I was privileged earlier in my career to be in, an organization that allows you, well, let me say allow you, because, sometimes you feel, this is too much work, right? But you collect the data. When you finish collecting data, you enter the data, you analyze the data, and you contribute to the report writing. Sometimes, there are organizations that are really big, that's different departments are responsible for that. But I'm excited about that, that this organization that I was part of initially allowed you to do that. And what do you do? What happens to you when you do all these things? You gain experience. Now, if yes, you go collect the data and you do all those things. If you want to, so for today, I still collect data. Yes, so there might be high-level discussions. Maybe I want to speak to another high level. I'm trying to, I'm on a project and I need to also get feedback from a high level, maybe the CEO of an organization, the country director. Of course, the more experienced people will be the ones to collect those data because they would understand. So now I understand, that those things are important. So hard skills are very key. Yes, I do agree with Dr. Mann where she says that, yes, you know what you want, but you also have to have skills. You need to also have certifications that is important. Now, there may not be specific M&E certifications. However, there are different aspects of M&E. So in quantitative, you need to, if you're going to be, doing quantitative data collection or data analysis, you need to Google, find out, learn SPSS, learn Stata, learn, different things that would help you, do that. Or if they are qualitative, NVivo is there. Or even data collection. There was a point, even I did get skills in scripting. So using Survey CTO. So tomorrow, because there was a situation where I found myself where somebody was ill, the person that did the scripting fell ill. You can't preempt these things. And you have to go to field, you need to deploy. So you get your hands dirty, you ask for the passwords, and then you ask for the information that you ask for the links and all. And then it might just be one adjustment here. They have done the scripting, but you need to do some changes here, some changes there. So if you have that skill, you can just quickly get that sorted instead of waiting maybe 2-3 days. Of course, you can't force the person that is sick to come and attend to you. So it's very important. And I see sometimes people don't want to learn. We have, the internet at our beck and call. I always say, ask Google. When you've asked Google, there are so many free courses, Coursera, many places where you can just get basics, and then you will get more experience while you do the work. And also, you can now say, oh, there are bigger things to learn. I can now say I can pay for this. Or if you're good in organizations, some organizations can also pay for certain courses for you to learn. So yes, technical skills are important. Another thing we need to also understand is that management skills are important. So sometimes when you see someone 3 years, 4 years, and you ask, do you have any management experience? And they say no. And I'm like, wow. I'll ask again, did you do data collection? They say yes. Did you manage the data collectors? They say yes. I say, already. That's your leadership experience. You have managed teams. So it's from those little things. How were you able to coordinate that project? That already gives you skills. Please feel free to put those things in your CVs. They would help you a lot. And let us also try to understand that. Look for things. So Google M&E. Technology is changing every day. New ways of doing things are changing every day. You don't want to get stuck at what they used to do in to 2010. And then when you come to 2024 and people are talking about participatory approaches, contribution analysis, you're just looking. So go with the flow. Of course, again, be sure to know what you're picking out from the internet, because there's a whole lot of funny things there. But be sure to know that you're getting the right information and you're training yourself as you can. And always keep asking questions to people you feel also know these things. So I would say those are the two main things for me. And of course, communication, like Doctor said earlier, is key. You need to understand how to communicate, either as you're, developing your skills as you're going through the ranks. I was also in another organization. I mean, I would keep going back to the organization because I would say it built my foundation very well. I was very shy. We don't do presentations, but the CEO was female then, and she tell you, man, you have to go to you're going to present. You have a month to prepare for a presentation. We used to have these learning sessions every month. You get that time, you go and stand in front of 20 people and talk whatever you want to say. Just present, and over time, build your skills in presenting, build your skills in communicating your findings, build your skills in report writing, build your communication skills as well. So I think these are a few things I think are really key. Thank you.
It's getting interesting than I thought it would be. You talked about learning, how the young people are not interested in learning. And you also said something about even you staying up at 3 a.m., 2 a.m. just to be sure that you're on top of your game. And I think this is a lesson for young people. Some of us who are here, there's never, a place where you're just going to plateau or just feel like, okay, you relax, because like she said, M&E is evolving. I need to learn the new ways of doing things in monitoring evaluation. And now I like to talk about something that maybe we don't actually see the importance of it when it comes to also advancement. We've talked about building skill set that qualifies somebody for this position. You talk about soft skills, talk about technical aspect of the skills that we need to ascend in our careers. But now I want to ask about networking. As we, amass these skills, as we get our hands dirty to build this portfolio, what does networking play in all of this? Is this still important, or you say we should rely on building our skill set? What is the role of networking when it comes to advancement in monitoring evaluation? I'd like to stay with you, Irene, before we go to Dr. Eman.
Okay. Networking has a very key role to play in the M&E field. I like to say that the M&E field is small but big, right? Usually, or previous, like I said earlier on, my personality, my personality is one that is,
I think I can hear Irene from my end.
No, she lost connection. I think she dropped.
Yeah, I think she did. So why she wait for her to come back? Maybe I can ask you the same question. From your experience, what would you say is the role of networking when it comes to career advancement, so that we can, take note of this and not just think that all that there is to build technical skills and then we'll be able to get our dreams achieved. Over, man.
Yeah, networking is very important. Networking in and before joining an organization is very important. So, keeping the knowledge coming up. If you are aspiring to join, let's say, Save the Children, then you need to contact with people of Save the Children on the LinkedIn, on maybe face-to-face seminars or conferences if there are any coming up. So this is the first before joining. And of course, they don't only have, it's not only for Save the Children, of course. They don't only have the published jobs. There are other jobs that is called hidden opportunities. The hidden opportunities that's going through headhunting. So some organizations go for headhunting. So if they know someone in mind, that's the first one to come in mind. So they would recruit them directly without going through a whole process. And to do that, you need to be active. So active communicating. Maybe I had borrow Liz Ryan and Andy Lasivita from LinkedIn. They said that go and ask them for only one tip. I want to join your organization. Would you please give me one tip? So if they saw it's like it's only one tip, so I can do it. It takes only 1 minute. Not like please advise me. Please, what to do? Not to make it broad for them and it would be more complicated, so they will never answer your message. So make it easier for them, so they would make it easier for you. And then maybe if they are interested in talking more, they would share other tips or maybe share other links. And then keep in touching. Now, if you keep touch, they would maybe share opportunities, not only on their pages, they also could reach for you if you just came in mind. This means, I remember someone who called me that he's interested on mine. I'll check my LinkedIn messages. This is I think very important. That's why not only checking the jobs that are published is important, but also targeting some organizations. So this is maybe the first thing should we do, that we target some from 3 to 5 organizations you would like to work with, maybe 10, and then find their LinkedIn pages or maybe if it is available emails. So you can contact persons from those organizations and you would hear at least feedback or advice from some of them, of course, not all of them. This is my view about networking in and before joining an M&E position.
Thank you so much, Ma, for sharing this insight. I hope we all got what she said. If you're interested in joining an organization, say for instance, Save the Children or International Rescue Committee, look for people who are working at that organization, connect with them on LinkedIn, and then ask them one question. I want to join your organization. Can you give me one tip or one advice? I mean, I've written that down, something that I hope to also put to practice as we go on. So I see Irene is back on the call now. I see somebody raising hand for a question. I would like to mention that we have a Q&A coming shortly after this conversation, so you can note down your questions. When we are done with this panel discussion, we will allow the audience also ask their questions. So just note your question will come to you. So before you lost connection, I asked the question about networking. What would you say, the advantages of networking that young people should take note of, or early entry career level should take note of, that they can leverage to move up in their career? So over to you now.
Thank you. And sorry, I didn't even know that I was cut off. Okay, so networking is very key. Network virtually, network physically. I do totally agree with Dr. where she says sometimes you need to reach out to those people that, you might have some organizations you're looking out for, or you might just have certain individuals in the M&E space that their goals align with your goals, their experiences as what you want to be like them when you grow up, those kind of things. So yes, network virtually. Don't keep quiet and talk about some young people, they want to advance, but they don't even have a LinkedIn page, or they don't even have a functional LinkedIn page. So I just tell you a few things I do myself. I reach out to people and I request for them I want to join their networks, and sometimes I also am in different M&E groups. So there are various M&E groups on LinkedIn as well. Make use of LinkedIn, right? You can join those groups. join those groups, learn from them. There are various M&E experts. Sometimes they post great content. You might not, and you also need to be active. And it's not like you must say you must do it every day, right? Because again, it depends on the amount of work that you have. But please try as much as possible to not to allow your LinkedIn, page to be stale. Post, sometimes you see intelligent content that people have come about. You can repost that, right? And you can always give credit, because give credit to that person that has come up with those. So it's important to do virtual networking. Physical networking as well is important. There are many in Nigeria, or at least in Abuja that I know. There are many conferences, events that happen that are free. You just have to transport yourself there. I mean, what other ways? Like you need to, I could tell you one. There's one organized by the Policy Innovation Center. It's a gender summit. It happens every year. It's free, at least all for the ones that I have joined. You just have to register. You could, so look for, Google, search various events that are available, and go to those places and have intelligent conversations. Don't just say, tell me what you think I need to know. Come with something. And another thing I also learned over time was my former boss, she would tell you, when you are in a room, think about what they're saying and try to ask an intelligent question. So even in those events, when you're there, listen to what is being said. Try to understand more. If there's a question you're not clear about, get more, try to get more information. Then in a place where they now ask you to ask a question, please try and make it an intelligent question. That way you're putting yourself out. But if you don't have any intelligent question to ask, please don't bring yourself out, because they'll now say, who is this person? Right? But listening, try to be engaging, and then try to, if you have additional information of an experience you had on the field, you can say that. If you have a question to ask, you can say that. That way you're putting yourself out already to the whole people that are sitting down. And then settle down, target who is speaking, who is this, who is that. And then, when the time when there's a session of the break session, you can now go and just greet them and just, request for their LinkedIn pages. People are not free, easy to give phone numbers. So say, please, can I have your LinkedIn address? Can I reach out to you? Or you can even go right ahead and search their names on LinkedIn and send them a connection request. So networking is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, man, for nailing it and summarizing it so nicely. Networking is very important. You talked about vertical and you talked about horizontal networking. I hope that we are listening and we're noting those key insights down so that we can put them to practice after now. So moving on, I'll go to Dr. Eman, and I would like to hear what you think about this question. We talk about networking, we talk about skills, but I want to talk about the aspect of, having somebody you're looking up to, mentorship. What does mentorship do? What is the role of mentorship? Because I've listened to great people. Most people who are in, no matter the field, they always tell you they have a mentor. But when you come to the M&E field, not so much is being said when you talk about mentorship. So, but do we actually are we negating the benefit that we stand to get when we have a mentor who has gone through these ranks, who can hold our hands and bring us to the place they are? What is the role of mentorship in career advancement in the management evaluation space? Over to you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you, good one. I think you mean two things. If I got your question right. So the first thing is as a leader to do a mentorship, and the other thing is to seek a mentorship. Did I get it right?
Yeah, you got it right.
Okay, thank you. For the first point, being a leader, you need to do mentorship for your team. Otherwise, maybe you would not be like a leader, quoting it. It would be something else. Like Irini was just saying, it's you need to ask people, and if you have data collection management skills, then you need to teach them for your team. If you have other skills, you need to pass this skill to your team. You need to mentor them, and maybe using on-job training or other ways to be doing this. So this would make it more easier for capacity building of your team, and will develop all their skills. You would have a very qualified team that is doing what you want to be done without then asking them what they are doing. So with your guidance and support, you would develop their skills, and of course, do not forget about opening opportunities for networking, for having mentors. Not only you, it should be like if there is other things, like there is another project and there is someone else, and there is a training that could be beneficial for your team, then you should go for it and ask the higher administration of the organization to give an opportunity for your team members to be allowed to access this training, or to be attending it even virtually. That would help them very much. On the other hand, for seeking a mentorship, this is, I think, is much easier, if you want to say that. So you should go for your manager. This is the first thing to do. Ask him or her that I need to work on my qualification in, let's say, maybe the qualitative data collection. So I need to practice more gathering data on monitoring using data tools, qualitative data tools, and check with him if or her if this is possible. Then he could or she could be your mentor first, and maybe then you could be practicing this. That gives you not only mentorship, you will be practicing really what you need. And this would be maybe by attending with other colleagues who are more experienced in that field. Then you can attend with them first before going to the, not to mess with our beneficiaries, of course, because this would have implications on the reputation of the organization in the field. Other thing to do also, it's not only your manager. You could ask your colleagues who are more experienced or have more years of experience than you, or maybe they are younger in experience, but they have that set of skills you want to know or you learn about. So if they have more qualitative than you do, and you have more quantitative, then you can offer to change experience. And what about having like during our lunchtime or during our break, what about getting in and discussing every day a little bit, part from my side and from your side, to discuss how is that been done. And I think no one would refuse something like this from my perspective. Okay, other things to do is asking like professional networks, like the M&E Sphere. Goodwin, thankfully, is having a WhatsApp group, and he is answering questions, and all the team on the WhatsApp group is answering when they have a reply or feedback. They are sharing information, they are sharing documents, they are sharing materials, opportunities, and other things. Then you can ask them, how can I do that? It's not only give me the fish, but also teach me how to catch this fish. So go and ask. Also go for your hobbies if you have evaluation association in your community, if you have evaluation youth evaluation associations in your community. They are very helpful and they will be for you there. So those are the main mentorships I can think of. And also don't forget to maybe have like opportunity to have internship with someone, maybe private companies. You can offer that you could work as whatever role you want to be, so you could learn the skill you want to learn, and that you would have this internship for them or with them, so you could work on your skills and you would help them growing. So that would help them and help you in the same time, and you both benefit from the offer. Thanks, Godwin.
Okay, thank you very much. We said a lot. Sharing steps and strategies that we can employ to build network with people that we can leverage for advancement. And you mentioned M&E Sphere belonging to communities that have like-minded people. So I just want to say here on the call, M&E Sphere has a community on WhatsApp platform where we have people from different works, different organizations, the UN and the rest. So if you're here and you're not part of that community, I'll just drop the link to the group here. You can feel free to join if you're interested to be part of that community where you can get to network with people of like minds, get access to information, resources, and opportunities in management evaluation. You're welcome on board. So I'll be moving on to Irene. I'll be asking you 2 questions in one. My first question will be on the networking that I will just ask now. And then after that, I would like you to talk about some of the things we see in our organizations, more like workplace dynamics or what people call politics. Yeah, sometimes you can have all of these other things we've talked about checked, but you still need to be able to, be a people person, someone who is able to also play the card before you can get those opportunities. So I would like to start with the first one, mentorship. Maybe you can say 1 or 2 things about mentorship before we go to the second question. Thank you, and over, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. So I won't, Doctor has spoken, extensively on mentorship. So I'll just, add in. I think mentorship is important, but if we're coming from the mentor's point of view, the mentee has to make it an easy mentorship. Because like Godwin has said, most times, when you are at senior level or an advanced role, you are, you have a lot of things to do. And just the way sometimes we say, when you ask a questions, there are many jokes about somebody will just say hi, and that's all. I mean, I can say hi back, but that's all. So making it easy is having, if for instance, okay, so I tend to look at it 2 ways. The first is, so making it easy is, you already know what questions you want to, if you already have identified a mentor and you have, sent a message and the person has agreed to mentor you, asking broad questions might not really help you because the person might be because person asks you, in what area do you want me to mentor? And when you ask the question, when you say any area, then to be honest with you, you might not get any response, but if you come very clear goals, identify the particular area you want, then try to make it as precise as possible. So that if you're asking straight questions, Ma, please, what skills do you think I needed for this? Or what I'm trying to do this and I'm experiencing some friction here. I don't know what your advice would be. So asking specific questions, can help the mentorship grow. And then again, secondly, I also think that there's something called silent mentors. You can have silent mentors. I have a lot of silent mentors, people that I see their work, I love their work, I follow them. I'm not a stalker, but I follow them, right? I see their posts, I see their activities, I learn from those things. So I don't have to personally now start to reach out if I don't want to, but I learn from their various experiences. And it also helps me to build my own knowledge, my knowledge base and my experience. So I think that's what I'll just say for mentorship. If I move on to discussing, I think you talked about, did you say politics in the organization, or how did you put it, Godwin? Sorry.
Yeah, you're right. Well, politics or workplace dynamics.
Workplace dynamics.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think people need to understand that, yes, we are here to do our work, but there are other things that are involved. You are technically skilled, but do you have good communication skills? I know how to analyze data, but do you know how to send an email? These things are important, right? You need to understand that, yes, you have the skills, but there are also soft skills that are important. Now, in in most organizations, it's not just the work, but there are also there's the process in doing the work. So go and collect data, but on what platform are you going to enter the data? Or who is going to provide the vehicle for you to go to the field? Is finance going to approve the money that you're going to use to get to the field? So you need to understand that you are going to be dealing with people. So you need to also have people skills. Try to, as much as possible, have alliances. Now, there's something I frown against, which is bootlicking. I frown against those a lot, right? But first, you have to have a couple of things, which is respect in the organization. Sometimes some people will see people, they have been in the sphere before them. They might be on the same level, but they feel, oh, and so you have a BSc, me, I have a master's, and so I always believe in respecting everybody because you're dealing with people. If the cleaner doesn't clean your office, you can't work. So respect doesn't only start with your colleagues. Respect starts with even the people you feel are so small. So I would say to understand these workplace dynamics, right? It's not only you don't only need technical skills, you also need people management skills, so that across the line you are able to have allies. Again, of course, you cannot please everyone, but what I always say is have your technical skills, first have your technical skills, and then understand that you're going to work with people. So try as much as possible to learn how to work with people, and also there's something called emotional intelligence. You need to learn how to manage relationships. Those things will help you with workplace, dynamics, and how to, improve your career. Because sometimes you might not be in a room and some people are talking about you. And if you've done something, you don't have a very good character, you might not be recommended for bigger roles. So these things are important. Thank you.
Thank you. You need to be someone who is a people person and not someone who is just doing things to please, but someone who genuinely show respect to everyone, both vertical and then horizontal. That way we are able to sync with everyone on the team, and when the opportunity comes, they will gladly recommend you. Thank you so much, Ma, for that. I'll move into Doctor will ask this question, and then we'll give the audience opportunity to also ask their question before we go to the last set of questions that we have. So my question is, even though we've touched on this, I just want to zoom on it right now in particular. We talked about learning, continuous learning, and, we cannot underestimate how much we need to be aware of learning in and the role it plays in career development. But then the question is, what are the strategies? Because if people who are already at the top of their careers like you are still learning, staying awake at night to learn, and then you find all the young professionals who are at the early stage of their careers battling with time. Okay, you find out we just have a course, and then we don't seem to have the time to complete the course until sometime the period passes. But then here are you, accomplished professional who still make out time and meet other schedule, family to still study. So we're asking, what are the strategies? How do you balance all of these other competing demand and then create time for professional development? Dr. Over.
Thanks, Goodwin, so much. I think this question makes it like more of a wrap up for all what we said today. I think this is very important because first of things that we should work on our learning, continuous learning. We should be on time doing like this networking we all just talked about, adapting with what we just heard from Irini about focus on what you want to be, what is your next step, then work on that. So if I am going to work on my career advancement, then I should keep learning, and the learning should come through many things. Irini mentioned the Coursera and other things that's very helpful. And there are many free courses. You don't have to pay for them. And if you found something that is very and really beneficial and you need to pay for that, you could check with your work first and then you could pay for it if it's not offered. There are many free webinars and workshops that are done by the evaluation associations all over the world, and you should be following them on LinkedIn. Uh, not having a LinkedIn page till today is a catastrophe. I totally agree with Irini on that also. I think maybe having summaries and those memos and the mentorship programs, the network is like M&E Sphere and others are very helpful in that regard. The VOBIs again, the practical experience, the mentorship programs that is offered, and I think I covered this in detail. So this is very helpful, and I think you should keep learning. And like Irini said, I think in one of the answers, that you should not like keep in your space. You need to move on, and the M&E field is advancing and it is developing already, and you should keep up with it. You should not be like staying and oh, I'll be here and I am focusing on what I'm doing, and I am using this tool only, and I think that's fine. No, you should produce new things, and you should figure out which is required for the coming period in your organization and outside your organization. You should know what is going on around. There are now AI qualitative data tools that are competing with us in the field. If you don't know how to manage those tools, they would be other people that are using them that will be replacing us. So you should know how to do this, even if it is not that professional till now, but it still need to be learned, and you still will be on the page what and why and what they are doing currently, and where they are. Otherwise you will find yourself one day that, oh, there are some technologies that are doing my tasks, and I am not needed anymore in my work, because the organization will buy that AI allies or something else that would help them more than I do. So I think that that's it. Not to be and give some more time for the feedback from the platform. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma. And I'll be asking Irene, I wonder if you have something to add to what you say, particularly the strategy that you personally adopt to, stay top of your game, to take courses, to, build your skills in new and emerging trend in management evaluation, so that we can learn from this and then adopt one or two in our advancement and our quest to advance in this space. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'd speak personally. I'm a kind of purpose-driven person. So this is my personality. So I mean, okay, so let me give you a small story. I've always wanted to be a medical doctor, but Nigerian school and JAM, and they had other plans for me. So they, gave me microbiology. But I said, oh, well, I want a doctor in my name, right? So, but I said, okay, no problem. Yes, let me do the microbiology, but what do I want eventually? And I said, I want a doctor. I want to be a doctor eventually. Now, that is something I have had since when I left secondary school, 2003, and it has been driving me. Now, it's not how far. It's not how far, it's how well. So if you have certain things that are driving you, it will help you even as you're building yourself. I always say, whatever skills you gain, it's for you. If your organization pays for study for you, it's for you. The organization is not going to withdraw the knowledge learned from your brain, right? If you get better at certain things, if you're paying for yourself, if you're looking at, oh, this is important and I want to invest in this, it's for you. You use it. It would come a long way. So first, you need to have the drive. Say, this is what I want. And of course, I'm still going. I have my master's, and don't say you know it all. I just graduated. I just finished my MBA. um I just finished my MBA, and that's my second master's now. And the next place I'm going for my PhD. I'm in a senior position. Some people say you don't need any more certificate. No, I mean, that might be you, but not me as an individual. I must achieve as much as I can that place that I want to go to. So you need to tell yourself, again, it's personal development. So tell yourself what you want for yourself and push yourself to achieve that. I did my MBA while still doing my work. I just looked at, okay, the options that were available was virtual, and it was evening lessons. So after I finished my 9 to 5, I drink tea and start my my PhD and my MBA that started by 5. So it's you. I like to say, and also for me, for courses, I have over 30 something courses. I always told myself that every year I must have one certification. I must add something to my portfolio. Every year I must add something to my portfolio. So again, you need to tell yourself what you want. That's what I want. That's what I want. So tell yourself what you want and then move to get the things that you want. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ma. I mean, I hope that some of us listening, we are, seeing, the loopholes and some of the things that we can do. Having a personal development goals of what you want to do part-time. I need to add one course to what I already have now. And for you who already have masters and the ME for more, just remind me of what I had in Dr. Emma's profile. I mean, someone who with a PhD also going for a master's in monitoring evaluation. When I saw them, I'm like, what are you, do you see actually need this? So, but it just tell you how the extent to how much people are willing to, pay forward and then build themselves to stay relevant in their careers. So at this moment, I'd like to just move to the audience, the participant, to perhaps to take one or two questions from the audience before we can come to the closing questions that we have. I saw people already indicating that they have questions. I saw 2 hands raised, so I'll just look at my screen now in no particular order and call you to ask your question, and feel free to direct your question to any of the speakers that you feel you have something that you want to clarify. So yeah, if you can hear me, please unmute.
Hi, my name is Mimi.
Oh, Mimi, sorry, you please go ahead.
Yeah, I was the one putting my finger up at the beginning.
All right.
Good evening, and thank you very much for Professor Anan and Obi. Thank you very much for the presentation. Where you spoke about, there was a question about mentorship. And the answer was not totally very clear to me. And Irene, is it Irene? You said something about being pushy. Yes. How pushy can you be? If not, you are going to sound rude. My question is in two phases. I decided to stop my work because I finished training my children and I wanted to go to school. So I went to learn monitoring and evaluation, also human resources. But when I finished with the monitoring and evaluation specifically, I needed somewhere to practice. I tried. I sent mail. I attend international presentation, different thing on evaluation. So you ask for mentorship or somebody to work with you. I mean, even for free, I did ask just for me to get that knowledge. I am writing my second paper on my own. So when you talk about mentorship, how do you do that? I even suggested I want it for free. All I need, I just want to learn it. Not on the paper that I did for my diploma. No, I want it on the ground. Aside my presentation skill, aside my writing paper, but I want to know physically how it is done. But you don't get anybody to help you. This is a GEI for evaluation or GIG for evaluation. I discussed with several members of that big body, but you don't get anybody answering you. Connect them on LinkedIn. Nobody answers you. It looks as if you want to take their knowledge and they are not ready to transfer this knowledge to you. This is where I stop. So I will contact both of you via LinkedIn. So I want it to be real because I am actually experiencing it. You don't get anywhere. They keep pushing you around. I even contacted Germany. They were telling me that they don't give mentorship only for their own students, not outsider. So please, I need help. And I must learn that thing on the job. So I push this ball to you, Irene, Obi, and the professor, or the doctor, I guess. So please, I will contact you personally via LinkedIn. But I want you to tell us exactly what is going on the ground. I am a bilingual. I can work in any part of the world. So why the frustration on this EM? Why? Thank you very much for my question, for your time.
Thank you so much, Mimi, for your question and then expressing how your experience has been in the quest for mentorship. So I don't know if any of the speakers has something to say. Just feel free to respond. Thank you, Anova.
So maybe I can go first, because maybe I said we need to be pushing. No. Maybe you didn't get it clear. I never said you need to be pushy with your mentor. I mean, of course, if you have identified a mentor. Two things I said. One, you can have a silent mentor, or if you have identified a mentor, you need to ask direct questions. Now, I want to, so sorry, Mimi, that you have experienced this. Are you in Nigeria or is this like a global? So if you could, that would help me answer better.
I am in Lagos. I'm in Nigeria.
Okay, great. So speaking of Nigerian dynamics and context, the thing is, and I will speak personally, because if, for instance, somebody reaches out to me and says, I want to learn M&E, teach me. I may not be able to help you in that way. But if you have studied me, that's where the silent mentorship comes in. If you studied me, you've seen my posts, you've seen the activities I've been in, or there's a particular M&E. Let's talk about participatory approaches now, because I'm quite skilled and I do a lot of that. You want to know how to conduct those, or you want to know how to do qualitative data collection, how to be an interviewer, how to be a moderator, and you ask me those questions. Please, can you tell me how I can go about being a moderator? Or I will answer you. Right now, I don't like to call it mentorship, but there are two people I did identify that so one is quite young and she's like she wants, I mean, of course they say I want a job, I want a job. So what I'm doing right now with them is I'm mentoring them, if I can call it that. So they want to learn how to be good, skilled interviewers, moderators. So what I do, even in the high level of conversation that I had, I put them in. I will take you through, this is what is expected. I will take my time to discuss that with you. And if it's in the meetings, if we're having virtual meetings with the high level people, I will add them to be participants and introduce them, because of course, if you're having that kind of conversation, you have to, you can have an interviewer and a note taker. And then I tell them to listen in. They would be, I've been doing that for some time. They would just be listening in, and over time we will be having discussions on how. So that they're again that they're, and I told them, because I'm not doing this, I'm not bringing you officially into my organization. I'm trying to build your capacity. So it's not going to be paid, because I know that before you start to have those conversations, organization, bring this person in, organization will start to think, how much will I pay, blah, blah, blah. But we need to understand that we need to give something. There needs to be skin in the game. And what is your skin in the game? Is that, okay, I am willing to know what to do. I want to learn. Now they want to learn how to be interviewers. They did not tell me to teach them M&E. They told me they want to learn how to be interviewers, how to be moderators. So it is in that aspect I'm supporting them. If they say they want to learn how to do data analysis, if I'm doing that, I can support them while I'm doing my work. So you just probably, you have to find your way to my office if that situation happens. Sit with me if it's a particular analysis I'm doing, or doing qualitative or whatever. But that is my own way of how I can help people. Sometimes people say, people need to understand that you need to volunteer, and sometimes volunteering, it will cost you. But if you tell an organization, please, let me just come and learn 3 months, let me just come and learn 6 months, you will pay your transport there front and back, and you will just learn. I don't know, it will be a very unfair organization that doesn't, consider that you've put this in for this amount of time and you need to prove your worth. Now, you need to prove your value. I'll say this in closing. I was in an organization, and in fact, I was heavily pregnant. I don't even know, with twins. I don't even know whether it was light bulb of the twins, but I identified a problem because you need to show value. I identified a problem. We collect data, but before we get the data, we don't have data. We, engage different softwares that will collect data with. And I said, we're an M&E firm. I just told my organization one day, they were talking, how can we? So I just raised my hand up, and we're an M&E firm. Can we have our own data software, data collectors? Is this something we can do? And not only data collection software, can we have a software that can help us collect data and manage project activities and all of these things? And some years down the line, they built an app, and I was given an award. I've left the organization, and they called me to come and accept an award, most innovative staff. So you need to first, even while you're doing that volunteering, you need, what extra are you bringing, so that, oh, it's 3 months, everybody is collecting data, but Mimi is collecting data with an extra, something extra. That would single you out, and that would be a good selection for them to now employ you, fully, in that organization. So I don't know if I've been able to help you. Feel free to reach out to me. I can always guide you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arlene. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma, for that incisive response to her question. I see 2 more hands in the chat box. So I'll go to Yaya. Yaya, please unmute and let's have your question. And then I want to mention that Dr. Eman has dropped off the call. She has an appointment with a doctor. So in case you're directing your question, she may not be available at the moment to respond. But like I mentioned before, you can join the M&E Sphere community. She's also part of the WhatsApp group, and then she'll be able to advance that conversation with you in that regard. So, but for now, we have Irene here. So, Ma, over to we'll be happy if you can entertain the questions from the audience. So, yeah, over to you.
All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from the respected audience, as well as the moderator.
Your voice is a bit low. I don't know.
Hello?
It's just from my end.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone in this great session. I want to thank the 2 participants. My questions, I have 2 questions. One is a direct question. The second is a appreciation. My question is pertaining to qualitative data analysis. I just recently finished an internship with one of the organizations in Nigeria. I've gained a lot, but it seems like I have difficulties in qualitative analysis, particularly in how to use NVivo. So my question is, I don't know if this great M&E Sphere can organize a particular session for us, like entry-level M&E interns and others, where we are going to be trained on how to navigate about through the NVivo stuff. My second question, which I said is how to do it appreciation, but it's particularly directed to Ma Arin, if I pronounce the name correctly. She's speaking exactly like my former line manager in the organization I just left recently. She's, the way she talks, the way she gives motivation. So I would like to appreciate her in that direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, yeah, for the appreciation. Do you want to respond to his thought on qualitative?
I thought, okay, so I thought he said you guys should organize a session for them. But yes, I mean, for qualitative analysis, you could use NVivo. There's also Deduce. You could use, and I've used these two platforms before. But however, there's also something called thematic analysis. You could just use your, M&E, your Excel to do the thematic analysis. The reason why we have these apps are, to be honest, these softwares are very good because they help you create codes, teams, and then do your analysis. When you are able to build all this in, if for instance, because sometimes you might have analyzed data and written your report, and then the project is saying, oh, you didn't look at this aspect. Can you look at this aspect? So when you use all these softwares, they help you because you've coded the entire transcript. So you don't now have to recode. You just have to go and look for what exactly they want you to, the other aspect to look at. So they are actually very good and time consuming actually, but very, very good. But you can also use Excel. There are ways that you can use Excel to do, of course, Excel is not for calculation. Excel is just the database, right? It's the spreadsheet. But there are different ways you can use that to do thematic analysis. And of course, even in these NVivos and Deduce, they at the end of after your coding, you are able to export. If you tell it to export, it exports to Excel. So you can yes, I'm sure M&E Sphere will be able to respond to you. But again, there are a lot of YouTube pages you can just go to and get all these learnings for free. And what I always say, when you do your course, you need to practice as well. So maybe you need to find data or just, volunteer and conduct one interview, two interviews, and practice on those two transcripts. And I think you would improve over time, you would improve your skill in data, qualitative data analysis. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. So I will look into the possibilities of putting up a session on qualitative research, maybe subsequently. So right now I'll move to Adu Fatai. I see your hand raised. Please unmute and let's have your thoughts.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to appreciate the organizer of this particular session. Godwin, thank you. Irene, thank you very much. And also my pleasure to Doctor. My question is maybe in two folds. First, I would like to ask and maybe like a clarification. Does M&E operations really particular to NGO alone? Because what I've seen is that if you are looking at M&E operations, you will only see NGOs talking about M&E. You can't really see independent organizations, so to speak, to be in that space. Is it that it is peculiar to NGO? There's something that makes it to be an NGO operation. That is the first part. The second part will be like maybe seeking for something greater. In terms of, I am in Nigeria, and I used to see that there are institutions, so to speak, outside Nigeria that focus on M&E training and what have you. I know that Nigeria is one of the developing countries with a lot of developmental projects and reasons for data collection analysis. I would love to see that we have efforts that can also develop M&E institutions in Nigeria that will be able to speak to localization of Nigerian peculiarity. Because a lot of times when you go for all of this training, you find out that the participants are bringing to bear experiences from what they have done in their own sphere, which somehow you are not able to relate to because of the peculiarities of regions and peculiarity of events that are happening. So I don't know if the M&E Sphere has something in pipeline for that regard. So those are my two questions or two comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Abdulateef. I'll allow our speaker to respond to the first part that you talked about before I'll respond to whether M&E Sphere can do or have a plan for a future session.
Oh, okay, thank you, Godwin, and thank you, Abdul Fatai, for your question. M&E is not only for NGO. M&E, as the word implies, monitoring and evaluation. The only reason why it seems pronounced is because NGOs, INGOs, private organizations, they have programs that they have, maybe in line with the sustainable development goals. They're trying to address one goal or the other. So they want to see how their program is moving the needle to addressing those goals, or how they are making progress towards that. So that's why it's very, very rampant. However, M&E is not only in NGOs. Now, there are various levels of M&E, even in the private sector. So let's say a bank decides to do mobile money, right? It's brought about is, it moved into the, mobile money space. A bank can, after a period of time, say, okay, we deployed this initiative. We want to check its progress. We want to know if how many people have been onboarded, how many trying to again close the gap of people that are not banked to ensure financial inclusion. So they can now say, okay, let us check how much progress we're making. You see, banks these days are trying to not just, we're just providing services, but trying to know whether the services that they are providing is yielding the results they want to see, or if what they call them now, I don't want to call them beneficiaries. If the clients or the consumers are interested in that product, so there you deploy some level of assessments. You want to assess that. You want to evaluate that. You want to evaluate the outcome over time. You want to check the activity. So more M&E is not only for the NGO space. The reason why it's so common in the NGO space is because there are a lot of performance-based indicators. So maybe an organization will say, you have been given 5 million naira for this year, and you need to ensure you've increased education by this percentage on that percentage. For that money to be released, sometimes from the end clients or from the main funders, or even from maybe a pool of funders, maybe different organizations are funding that, they would need to see that progress has been made. Maybe the money is being released in tranches. Okay, for the first time, you get 2 million. For the second time, you get 2 million. The last is 1 million. But for you to get that second 2 million, you need to show us that progress is being made. That's when they now have to deploy M&E activities so that they can prove that the project is ongoing and success is being recorded, so that things are being so that they can get those other tranches. So that's why it's very common, because it's now placed on performance based. It's now more performance based, or more activity based, or basically you're outcome based. So I don't know if I've been able to answer your question, Mr. Abdul Fatai.
Yes, thank you, Irene. I got all your points. I got all your points. I think it's for me, because I have been observing that trend, but like you explained, I think it's to be able to expand or look at other directions that, based on what you have said now, to be able to see that there are opportunities for independent organizations other than just the NGO within the sphere of M&E. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Abdul Fatai, for your question, and I hope you have gotten the clarity. Yes, M&E is not just in NGO or the development space, but it cut across board. I'll just take one more person. I see. Okay, I see.
Hello, Godwin. It's really the second question of the possibility of M&E Sphere to, look at an M&E institute within maybe Nigerian perspective that, can take care of development or learnings, that we were able to have people with localized illustration of things that happen in Nigeria, rather than attending or attempting programs that are organized by foreign organizations or in foreign lands, and then all of the context they are sharing, one cannot really relate it to Nigerian context because of the differences in or the peculiarity within the Nigerian operational context. So I don't know if there is any plan for such. Thanks.
Yeah, all I can say is for now, we will note that down to maybe be strategic on how we can have a session on that to maybe look at the Made in African evaluation. I know that, like you just mentioned in Nigeria, more of what we have is the Western knowledge in monetary evaluation. Even though we have the Made in African evaluation movement, but it has not really gotten the level of momentum that it should get. Maybe like I said, we can note that down and then maybe put up a session. But I know organization like Clones House Person Associates, this organization that are in forefront of advancing Made in African evaluation. But I can't say more on that until maybe we have something concrete to talk about when we have a session on that. So I see Oluwatomiwa and the Sai, if you're on the call, please can you ask a question?
Okay, thank you very much, Godwin. Thank you to Miss Irene and Dr. Iman for the very insightful session and the useful tips that have been shared. Very relevant. I had a question earlier, but it was addressed. It was around, office politicking and emotional intelligence. And thanks to the speakers, that was properly addressed. So just to provide feedback generally, I know it's a Q&A session, but Miss Irene was actually my very first line manager, and I can attest that she's an embodiment of practicing what she has preached. So thank you so much again, Miss Irene and Dr. Iman, for the useful session, and kudos to M&E Sphere for putting this together. It's been a very insightful time. Thank you, and over to you, Godwin.
Okay, thank you so much, Oluwatomiwa. We are glad that you found this session valuable, and thank you for sharing your appreciation and gratitude to Ms. Irene for being a manager that allowed you to and gave you the platform to fly. Thank you again, Ma, on behalf of Oluwatomiwa, for giving him that support that he needed when he was working under you. So let me just confirm if there's anyone whose hands is raised. I saw Ishaku. Ishaku, are you raising up your hand? I'm not sure if your hand is still raised. Otherwise, we'll just move away from this Q&A and then draw the curtain on today's session. Okay, I take the silence from Ishaku as a no for questioning. So again, I want to just say thank you for staying on the call up to this moment and for the insight you have shared. We talked extensively that I know for us to make much of it, we have to listen to this again and again to glean the insight that you shared in this session. But as we draw the curtain, I wonder what would be your final thoughts, our final words to young people or young professionals on this call who are desiring to, climb up the ladder. I wish to be a senior manager. I wish to be this and that. What will be your final thoughts to us on this call?
Okay, thank you so much for having me on the call. Please feel free to reach out to me when you need, any support, or where you also need me to, add to, the knowledge base in the sphere. I would just say a few things. One is we need to understand that, for me, these are my understandings. Nothing would come easy. Of course, as Christians or as Muslims, we believe that, um, um, God will supply all our needs. But if I am a Christian, and if I can quote something from the Bible, if I'm allowed to, says, He will bless the works of your hand. What that means is that you need to work for Him to bless it. So we need to understand that we need to put in the work. It's very, very important. If you put in the work, and have a niche for yourself. If you don't know how to speak BB grammar, but you know how to do data analysis, do it with all your strength. If you don't know how to do data analysis because you don't know how to code and all many of those things, quantitative data analysis, but you know how to conduct moderation, do it with all your strength. Let people say that if it's this one, oh, this is, call this person for it. If you want this solution, call this person. Let your name be what is on the lips of people. And it can only be that when you have proven your worth, you have given your all, you've given, don't worry. People will say, oh, you too do. You're not doing for them, you're doing for yourself. And I think at the end of the day, all this will pay. All this will pay. I got into the senior role before I was 35. I got to director level. Not the director now, but before I was 35, I was already an associate director. Right? And I would not say that it's my power. No, of course, the grace abounds. But also, will people be able to, what will people say that you can do? And of course, this was not only by my power as well. Where comes in networking? I had a mentor as well who was also a colleague, but she was a senior colleague. But she was also able to say, I know this person very good. She has experience. She will be able to do this. Let's, try her. And she was leaving her position in another organization, and she recommended me. And after going through a series of interviews, I got the role. So networking again is key. Who are the people in your circle? Who are the people in your circle, and what can they say about you? For me, I have relatives, brothers and sisters, right? Cousins, church members. But if you come to me and say you need to do, I might give you an opportunity, but for me to give you an opportunity to be able to be a moderator, can I bring you in as a moderator? Because of course I have achieved this role. So can I recommend you as an interviewer? Then from there, I need to know that you have the skill, because I won't bring somebody in that would embarrass me. So that is where it comes to start building your portfolio, start building your experience, see where you can do one or two things. Please start, because these days, we are in T-pain economy, right? And organizations are feeling it. So everybody, there's freeze on unemployment. But if you tell them, say, okay, let me just be volunteering, they will be willing to hear that. But your line manager should now be able to push for your employment, because they have seen the value you're bringing to the table, the value you're bringing to the organization. So personalize it. Tell yourself, this is what I want to achieve. This is how I want to achieve it. And then do your work, give your best, and then the sky is your limit. Because when you do that and prove to people, people will push you up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you. And we can't thank you enough for sharing your wealth of wisdom with us, how that we need to be people of value, and then it works so that people are able to speak for us at those, points where our voices are yet to be heard or where we are not present. Thank you for being with us from the beginning of this session to this moment. Thank you for the wealth of wisdom you have shared. on behalf of everyone in the M&E Sphere community and the participant today, we are saying thank you. Please let's appreciate her again on the chat box. Let's drop our appreciation with our claps. Let her know that we are very grateful for her time and the knowledge she shared with us. But like I always say, it doesn't stop here. Let's put one or two things that we have gained in this session to practice. Let's not just be hearers, but the doers of what we have heard, so that at the end of the day, we're able to look back and say, this session helped me to move from point A to point B in my career. And that is why we are putting these sessions together. So everyone, we are grateful for your time. If you're part of the community, we keep the conversation going from here. It's not a one-day conversation. We always bring sessions like this, and then we bring topics that we believe are going to be beneficial to you. So if you're not part of that community, feel free to join. Feel free to ask for the link if you don't have, so that we can add you to the group. And then, as you also heard, you can connect with our speakers on LinkedIn, and then also be very direct on what you want to benefit from the connection. So from me and on behalf of all the team at M&E Sphere, we say thank you and thank you. Do have an amazing evening, everybody. And we say bye from me.
Bye.